Orochimaru is an underrated character when it comes to how powerful he is. I think people tend to overrate him individually, but what he has to aid him is overlooked. There's a reason why the Akatsuki couldn't just kill him with ease. Orochimaru has always had a large group of people to support him. At one time in Part 1, he had a small ninja village, the Sound Four, Kimimaru, Kabuto, and the first and second Hokage available via Edo Tensei. He probably also had the other members of Heavy, but they weren't introduced yet. In Part 2, he lost the Sound for Kimimaru, his village, and Edo Tensei, but he gained Sasuke, so that is arguably a net gain. The point of this video is to talk about what would happen if the Akatsuki decided to deal with Orochimaru before going after the One-Tails. This what-if versus battle hybrid is Akatsuki duos versus Orochimaru, and how it changes the story going forward. The fight will take place right before the Kazekage retrieval arc. Orochimaru will know that he's being hunted, and will decide to make a last stand at one of his hideouts. This means that he will have all of his prisoners helping along with the ones that have stage 2 curse mark transformations. Those with the curse mark were able to be taken down by Sasuke and Suigetsu with low difficulty, so they act more like pawns. They're still useful because Orochimaru can watch and figure out what his opponents are capable of when they take them down. Karin will work as a support, and Suigetsu and Jugo will also be useful. Jugo in his stage 2 curse mark transformation has immense physical strength, and Suigetsu is no joke. He has Zabuza's Executioner Blade, and his hydrification technique is very good defensively. He also has Kabuto, who can be used as a healer, and is not bad at close quarters combat considering he briefly fought Tsunade. And then there is Sasuke, who basically stalemated Deidara without Kirin. With Kirin, he's a dangerous man, and lastly, we have Orochimaru himself. Orochimaru is strong individually, but add everything else he brings to the table, and he is even harder to defeat. I'll be ranking each Akatsuki duo based on how well they do against the army, and how much it changes the story going forward. I did a similar thing in my Gaara vs Akatsuki members video, and it's basically a ranking placed on 2 axes. I've explained it enough now, so let's start with Sasori and Deidara, since Sasori and Orochimaru hate each other. So let's lay out the groundwork on how the defense would go. Orochimaru would have some of his regular prisoners in the front line, and some of his curse-marked subjects behind them. Then you have Hebi, Orochimaru, and Kabuto. A good way for Deidara and Sasori to initiate would be to use C3, but Sasori would not allow that. Sasori really hates Orochimaru. Some filler really expands on this, but never mind on that. Sasori was the one member out of the Akatsuki that was actively trying to track Orochimaru by using Kabuto. They basically had a catfight over Kabuto, but I think it's even deeper than that. These two are the only true psychopaths in the series, and they naturally hate each other. This is because they see each other in themselves to an extent. I'm rambling here, but the point is Sasori wants Orochimaru to himself, and will be even angrier when he realizes Kabuto won't join them in the midst of battle. Sasori thinks Kabuto is his mind-controlled spy, but he's actually a double agent for Orochimaru. As for Deidara, he will be naturally drawn to Sasuke to prove that his art is superior to the Sharingan. Sasori and Deidara will plow through the pawns easily, and Orochimaru and his allies will learn more about Deidara's abilities. Orochimaru worked with Sasori in the Akatsuki, so he should know that Sasori is a puppet user and a poison user. They'll know that, and they'll learn that Deidara creates explosions. At this point, Sasori will challenge Orochimaru and Kabuto, while Deidara will take on Hebi. These fights will be fought separately, for the most part, with little overlap. Deidara fought Sasuke in the original timeline, and they stalemated at the end, with a plot hole allowing Sasuke to survive. This time Tobi isn't there to plant mines for Deidara, and Sasuke has Hebi on his side. This means Sasuke will eventually become victorious, but what about the other members of Heavy? Jugo has a stage 2 curse mark, which allowed Sasuke to survive a C2 explosion. Suigetsu can turn into water, so I suppose that allowed him to survive explosions maybe. Karin is vulnerable, but she can play it safe in battle, and the others can protect her. The biggest threat to Hebi is C4, which is when Deidara uses nano explosives. Sasuke can counter this by using electricity to disarm them, and he can use his Sharingan to see them coming. He could touch all the members of Hebi and run electricity through them to save them. This may damage them, but nothing serious I'd imagine. In conclusion, I think Hebi kills Deidara. If he tries to self-destruct while incapacitated, Hebi won't take any chances and stop him. Sasuke was too tired to stop him last time, but this time he should be able to use his Chidori Spear or something. I've actually talked about Sasori vs Orochimaru in an old video, so if you want a super in-depth analysis, check that out. As for Kabuto, he's kind of a non-factor here. He can heal Orochimaru, but that's pretty much it. As for Sasori's poison, Orochimaru should be immune to it. Kakashi said that Orochimaru made Sasuke immune to poison, so Orochimaru should have made himself immune too. You may argue that Sasori's poison is top tier, but even if Orochimaru isn't immune, he can use Oral Rebirth to create a new body before the paralysis sets in. Either way, the poison is ineffective. Orochimaru's summoned Manda shouldn't be immune to the poison, so I don't imagine Orochimaru would summon him. So both fighters lose one of their best abilities, but they still have a lot left. Sasori has the third Kazekage puppet, which has the ability to control Iron Sand. Orochimaru doesn't really have anything to counter this. He doesn't have the ability to blitz Sasori, and the Iron Sand would just be a problem. Orochimaru has the ability to summon a sea of snakes out of his mouth, but the Iron Sand, along with Sasori's ability to use fire, should be able to protect him. The other thing Orochimaru can do is burrow his extended head underground to surprise Sasori. He could do this while Sasori is dealing with the snakes, but I think Sasori would still counter this. Four-tailed Naruto didn't counter this because he had an IQ of 0 and no situational awareness. So when Orochimaru begins to come out of the ground, he could use his tail on his Haruku shell to block the incoming sword. The Kusanage sword is supposed to be able to cut through swords, so I imagine this would break his tail, but at least it saves Sasori. This is an all or nothing move for Orochimaru though, because if he doesn't kill Sasori immediately, Sasori can manipulate the Iron Sand to cut off Orochimaru's neck. Even if he does cut through Sasori, it'd be very lucky for him to hit his core. I'm getting into headcanon here, I guess, but the point is, I don't think it's a smart move for Orochimaru to come out of the ground. Orochimaru can turn into a massive 8-headed serpent though. This won't amount to anything because the Iron Sand is superior. Garu is able to use his inferior sand to block full body Susanoo swords, which is definitely more powerful than Orochimaru's serpent transformation. Sasori can use his denser sand to defend against the serpents, then use his sand to cut their heads off. At this point, Orochimaru has nothing going for him except one thing. By this time, Hebi will be more or less finished with Deidara and can come help Orochimaru. The only person that can help Orochimaru in this situation, though, is Sasuke because he's the only one immune to poison. Everyone else will have to stay back. At this point, Sasuke should be a little low on chakra, but not completely out. Orochimaru will tell Sasuke to use Kirin because it's their last resort. Sasuke would use the remaining chakra he has to shoot fire-style jutsus into the atmosphere in order to create a thunderstorm. This is how he summoned Kirin against Itachi, so he could do the same thing here. Orochimaru and Sasuke will briefly stall until Kirin is summonable. Then Orochimaru will use a snake summon in order to give Sasuke the elevation needed to use Kirin. At this point, it is Kirin versus Magnet Release, so let's examine what is stronger. There are different types of strengths, but in this case, the Iron Sand should hold. Kirin was able to mostly destroy the concrete Uchiha hideout, but iron should be more durable in this situation. I've done a lot of research and it's complicated, so I'm not going to go into specifics. The point is, iron is several times more stronger than concrete, and I think it should be able to hold against Kirin. You may argue that lightning style is superior to earth style, but Magnet Release is a mix of earth and wind style. Wind style is superior to lightning style, so it cancels out. Ultimately, I think that Sasori survives Kirin, but if you want to do your own research on that, you can. This is headcanon for me, but I believe it's the more plausible thing. At this point, Orochimaru and company has nothing going for them, and Sasori can use his 100 puppet jutsu to finish them off. So Sasori comes out on top here and everyone else dies. From there, I think Kakuzu captures Gaara, and the Kazekage retrieval arc would change some. Ultimately though, without Sasuke alive, and no one alive that could use Edo Tensei, the world would surely fall under the infinite Tsukiyomi. This means that the story heavily changes going forward, and only one member of the duo survives. Next I'll do Hidan and Kakuzu. They'll both kill all the pawns without showing too much of their arsenal. I don't think the fights will split up in two. In the last fight it was because Sasori and Deidara wanted to personally kill two different people. There's none of that here, but Orochimaru's team may consider splitting them up. Kakashi and Shikamaru did that against Hidan and Kakuzu to make their fights easier, and Orochimaru may want to do the same. But we'll cross that bridge if need be. Kakuzu would initiate by summoning his mask. He has 4 at his disposal, and they can individually use fire, lightning, water, and wind style. Suigetsu can use water style to counter the fire and water mask. Sasuke can use lightning and fire style to counter the lightning and wind mask. Orochimaru can use the Rashomon gates to easily block an attack from the mask too. On a general basis, Orochimaru's team has the ability to help each other out against the mask. As for Hidan, he's pretty useless here. Jugo was able to use his stage 2 curse mark transformation to fight against Suigetsu's executioner blade, and it didn't even draw blood from him. Suigetsu is his sword user, so he'll have a sword, along with Sasuke and Orochimaru. All of them should be good enough at Kenjutsu that they don't spill blood, and Kabuto and Karin can be protected by the others. I can see Hidan running around and being destructive, but overall not doing too much. As for the mask, I see Sasuke and Orochimaru mainly taking these on. Shidori can destroy them, and Orochimaru can use snakes to strangle them or stab them with his Kusanagi blade. Kakuzu's mask did really well against Kakashi because it was a 1v3, but Orochimaru's team outnumbers them. This means the mask can't barrage its enemies because they're outnumbered and can be countered. I see Sasuke and Orochimaru destroying two of them with some difficulty until Kakuzu transforms into his defensive form. In this form, he puts the two masks inside of him, and this makes him much more powerful. At this stage in the fight, I think Hidan will have been dealt with. They'll figure out Hidan's immortality, and someone will cut his head off. I'll give Kakuzu the benefit of the doubt here and say his wind and fire style mask survived, allowing him to still be able to use Scorch Release. At this point it doesn't matter though because Kakuzu has nothing going for him. Orochimaru and Sasuke can summon humongous snakes that Kakuzu can't counter. Kakuzu was stepped on by the Two Tails and lived, and I suppose the Two Tails has more strength than Manda and Iota, maybe. Kakuzu could only take so many blows from them though before he's incapacitated. Sasuke can also use Kirin, which has a similar destructive power to the Rasen Shuriken Naruto used to defeat him. Bottom line is, Sasuke and Orochimaru are easily Akatsuki level shinobi, and they have a few others aiding them. It's just too much for Kakuzu. Going forward, the story should remain the same until Kakuzu and Hidan's arc. I'd expect Itachi and Kisame to be confronted by the Leaf, and I don't see that going well for the Leaf. In fact, I think Naruto would get captured trying to fight them, and eventually get sealed. After that, the story remains the same until after Itachi's death. I think Pain would personally capture the Eight Tails, and all tailed beasts would be captured. From there, Obito will step in and put the world under the infinite Tsukuyomi. Black Zetsu would then use Obito to summon Kaguya, and every living being would be turned into a white Zetsu. This puts Hidan and Kakuzu in the neither survive tier, and I'll put them more towards the heavily altered story tier, because the story changes dramatically in the long run. Next I'll do Itachi and Kisame. This is a unique one because Itachi won't want to kill Sasuke, and Sasuke will hyper-focus on his older brother. Itachi will tell Kisame to not kill Sasuke, so that Sasuke can grow stronger, and Kisame will just say okay. Itachi and Kisame will plow through the ponds, leading them to the main distraction. Suigetsu will already have told everyone how Samihara works. Orochimaru and Sasuke will also share how Itachi can use Genjutsu. Orochimaru and Sasuke will be more prepared for Genjutsu this time, and I don't think they'll easily fall under it. Everyone besides Orochimaru and Sasuke will be defeated easily though. Hebi got destroyed by B, and Kisame destroyed B. That doesn't automatically mean that Kisame is stronger, but I mean come on, do I really need to elaborate? Itachi will be hyper-focused on Orochimaru, and want to kill him no matter what. If Genjutsu fails, he can use the Totsuka Blade to seal Orochimaru. This worked on Edo Nagato and Orochimaru in the original timeline. With Orochimaru out of the way, you have the supporting members of Hebi and Kabuto, which are no match for Kisame. Kisame will kill them for fun, while Itachi fights Sasuke for a little to gouge his strength. Once they're killed, Itachi and Kisame will leave. From there, the story remains the same, with the exception being Team 7 would not pursue Orochimaru and Sasuke. The story doesn't change until the war arc, because no one would be alive to use Edo Tensei. With no reanimated Madara, I think Obito loses to Naruto and Sasuke, and then uses Rinne Rebirth to bring back those that he killed at the cost of his own life. Zetsu will be powerless here, and will try to devise a new plan to summon Kaguya. Sasuke will then become the new antagonist and fight Naruto in the Shinobi Alliance. With the help of the Shinobi Alliance, Naruto should be able to defeat Sasuke. Sasuke will admit that he was wrong and that peace can be achieved through unity. The Shinobi Alliance will want to kill Sasuke, but Naruto won't let that happen. Going forward, the world would enjoy a short peace until Momoshiki would show up. The significantly weaker Naruto and Sasuke won't be able to defeat him, and Momoshiki will absorb all chakra on Earth. The story doesn't change too much compared to the other scenarios, so I'll lean it more towards the barely altered story tier and both survive tier. Next I'll do Obito and Zetsu. Zetsu is of course just a scout so we can dismiss him. Obito will want Sasuke alive so he can use him later and he'll want to kill Orochimaru. There was a moment when Obito was fighting Minato where he snuck up behind him and Minato tried to stab him. He used Kamui to phase through it, and then caught Minato's arm and used Kamui to begin to suck him up. Minato can only escape because he can teleport, but Orochimaru can't teleport. I see Obito initiating by doing this, and successfully sucking Orochimaru to the Kamui dimension. Right after that, Obito would make himself intangible, and tell everyone that he only wants to capture Kabuto. Sasuke will notice that this masked man is in the Akatsuki, and ask him where Itachi is. Obito would tell him that he can help him after he deals with Kabuto. Sasuke would be intrigued but also doubtful at the same time. Ultimately though, he would let Obito fight Kabuto, and Kabuto would also be sucked in the Kamui dimension. All of the prisoners would have already made a break for it, now that Orochimaru was out of sight. I didn't mention it, but Orochimaru would instruct Sasuke to calm Jugo before the battle. He knows how Kimimaro could calm Jugo, and he wants Sasuke to do the same thing, so Jugo would be useful in battle. Karin was naturally loyal to Sasuke, and Suigetsu would become neutral in the absence of Orochimaru. So just by Orochimaru disappearing, everyone but Kabuto would abandon the fight. After Kabuto disappears, Sasuke would ask Obito where Itachi is. Obito, knowing that Itachi is sick, would say that Itachi will tell you where he is soon so that you can fight him. After that, Obito would let Pain know the mission was successful and put Orochimaru and Kabuto in front of him. Pain would kill them for betraying the Akatsuki. Strangely enough, the story would end up changing in almost the exact same way as with Itachi and Kisame. The only change is the story is altered a little less, and Obito defeats them with less difficulty. And lastly, we have Pain and Conan. Conan will set up a paper tree from a ways away and stay with Nagato. Pain will plow through the ponds using taijutsu only. Pain is a straight-to-the-point fighter and doesn't play too much footsie at the beginning of a fight. He was able to use the almighty push on Gamabunta and send him miles away. This incapacitated Gamabunta, and if this happened to any of his opponents, they'd die. I'll give Orochimaru the benefit of the doubt here and say he survives and uses Aura Rebirth to regenerate. Even then, Pain could use Planetary Devastation on Orochimaru, and that'd be all she wrote. Pain's Planetary Devastation could restrain almost the full Ninetales, and Orochimaru's Serpent form doesn't compare in size. He also doesn't have enough firepower to destroy the center of mass in the Planetary Devastation. I shouldn't have to say much to let you know that Pain kills everyone. With a dead Sasuke and no Edo Tensei users, the world would surely fall under an infinite Tsukiyomi cast by Obito. Black Zetsu would use them to summon Kaguya, and all life on Earth would turn into white Zetsu. This puts Pain and Conan in the both members survive tier, and heavily altered story tier. So there you have it. 3 of the duos win with both members, 1 duo loses a member, and 1 loses both members. You'd think that the Akatsuki would have tried harder to eliminate Orochimaru, but I guess it didn't work well with the plot. They're fortunate Orochimaru never leaked some of their information. That's all for this video though. I've got more videos that follow the same format, so I suggest you check them out if you like this. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future. Comment something if you have something to say, and thank y'all for watching, and I guess I'll see y'all next time.